continuation of our yesterday's session. So, Suraj, you can start.
Good afternoon, all. So, as part of yesterday's session, we went through some of those 25A release updates which was there in place. And today we'll mostly focus. Yesterday we focused mainly on the purchasing area, and we covered on some of those uh, features or functionality like say this one specify start date for blanket purchase agreement line, then related to AI highlighter, then some of those Redwood themes which are being enabled in the UI part. Similarly, now moving on to the next one that is related to the supplier model. So earlier, as part of the supplier model, whenever we have inactive suppliers in place, whenever we want to inactivate a supplier, we will be running a program to inactivate those suppliers, and post that still the supplier accounts or the supplier contact details will still be active. Now, what Oracle has came as part of this initiative, as part of 25-year releases, they have included the supplier contacts also as part of the supplier inactivation process. So, whenever based on the supplier activity, based on the transaction, whether for the last 6 months or in that manner, for a particular duration, if the supplier has not you haven't done any transaction with a particular vendor, you have those options mainly to inactivate those suppliers. And as part of the inactivation process itself, the supplier contacts as well as the user accounts will be inactivated. So earlier, this was a manual process which needs to be done. Now, what happens is automatically once you run this program, the supplier contacts also becomes inactive. So this one is this is nothing but a scheduled process that you will be running as part of the process. So here you come to tools and under schedule process. So here you click on schedule new process, and we have the option of inactivate. So inactivate supplier. So this program, when you run, it is based on the transaction history. So you will be providing with whether the suppliers with no transaction or not, and if that is the case, how many months it needs to be considered. So those kinds of details you will provide. I'm just taking in for the past 6 months, and I click on submit. So once you run this program as part of the log file itself, you will see all the suppliers which are there, which will be inactivated as part of the process. And once the process is complete, when you go to the supplier, this one supplier UI and search for that particular supplier, you go to the contacts and you'll see that the respective contacts is also inactivated. So that is one feature which they have included as part of 25A. So you'll see some of those supplier level details as part of the log file. Let me just check. So here you can see some of those suppliers. So I'm taking one of the above 1359. So I'll just take one of this. So as part of this feature, as I mentioned, whenever the supplier is inactive, automatically when you run this program, if there is any contact associated to those, it will also get inactivated. So I'll just take something else. I'll just take one more supplier just to see whether we have a contact or not. Let me just. Three, six, three, let's take one more to see. This is having contact. So as in a demo environment for the program or for the list of values which we have run, don't see any contacts as of now. But this functionality, what it mainly does is whichever is the supplier which we have inactivating, for those the contacts will also get automatically inactivated. So none of these is having a contact as of now. Just see. Mhm. Okay, so that is a functionality which it wait 1 second. That's inactive. No. Okay. The filter was there for the status, that's why it wasn't showing up. So here, if you see, whatever was the contact which was mainly there in place, for that particular contact also, it will be inactive. So this is a functionality which it actually does. So if you see this record also, this one was last updated. Right? So all the suppliers, wherever it is getting inactivated, for those suppliers, the contact will also get inactivated. So this is a functionality that we have in place. So what happens is that extra licensing or whatever is the manual cleansing part, you don't need to worry as part of this process. Any questions or any queries related to this? Okay. Now, moving on to the next one, related to self-service procurement. So, self-service procurement was mainly one of the initial modules which moved into Redwood theme, and as part of the process, they have already planned mainly to make it as mandatory as part of 25A. But due to certain issues and other features which needs to be rolled out, it has been made mandatory to till 25C. So, by 25C is what the Redwood will become mandatory for self-service procurement, where we have the responsive self-service procurement, which will be coming in place. And as of now, for all the functionality which exists for the ordinary, I mean, in our normal UI, those they are rolling out in different phases. So across each this one quarterly release, say 24D or 25A, 25B, in that manner they are adding up more and more functionality which was existing in the older UI to this one responsive self-service procurement. So some of those functionality which they have added as part of 25A is the first thing is we used to have that requisition PDF was mainly there in place, and this was not available in our earlier the release functionality. It wasn't there. Now if you see, we have the requisition PDF which will be there, so this will be available for users mainly to download and to this one there will be an option mainly where they can download. At the same time, the same PDF, if you haven't done any customization, if it is a seeded one, those will be available as such. But if you have made any customization, those reports mainly needs to be updated based on the this one BI publisher tool that they will have to use, and they will have to update those. So I'll just go to the self-service procurement UI. So here I'm just going back to the responsive self-service procurement screen. So earlier, if you remember, for in our normal UI, we used to have that requisition PDF was mainly there. Now till 24D, it wasn't available. Now 25A, they have made it as this functionality is mainly available as of now. So if I go to any of the requisitions, I'm taking the existing requisition. If I go to any of the requisitions, you under actions, you have those options mainly to view those PDF. So the same one, the requisition PDF will be there in place. So this option they have added as part of the process. Then the next functionality which they have added as part of the process is mainly to select a recently used location when you are creating a rare requisition. So this search criteria, whenever you have a location in place, and when you're searching for it, whatever were the recently used locations, those will come up as part of the search results in the beginning. And if you have any specific location which you need to search for, you can key in those details, and based on that it will provide those details respectively. So here, one example which I can show you is in, say, if I go to, say, procurement, and if I go to purchase requisitions, and this is applicable in, say, editor requisitions as well as in requisition preferences. So in those pages as well, this feature is mainly there. So what I mean is, if you go to this one, requisitions, and if I go to home, and you have the preferences in place. So based on whatever the locations that you have given as preferences in your earlier case, those will appear over here whenever you are trying to set the requisition preferences. So for example, right now I'm just updating it mainly to Atlanta. So earlier it was Seattle, and now I have updated it to Atlanta. The next time whenever I come over here and when I try updating it, so if you see over here, whatever was the last locations that you have tried over here, it will show you down in this manner. So based on whatever you have updated, those values will show up down here, from which you can, so whatever is the recently used locations, those will come up over here from which you can choose from. So this is a functionality which they have incorporated, where you can use the recently used locations when you are trying to create a when you are trying to create a, requisition. So this functionality, it will be there available not only in preferences but also in other areas as well. For example, the deliver to location, which is mainly there in your requisition screen also. In those cases also, you will be able to update it based on the recently used locations. In moving on to the next functionality that we have is mainly on the search as well as manage a requisition using a header only view. So here, what we have is, if you go to manage a requisition screen again in self-service procurement. So here, under manager, because my requisitions or manage requisitions, you have these options where you have the options mainly to search, where it shows you in this manner all the requisitions at the header level as well as line level searches are mainly available for you, and you have those options to filter based on certain criterias, and you have those options where you can add in more filters to this list, and you can search on those options. So this they have added as part of the new functionality, which is mainly in place. So whatever the keywords or whatever the filters that you are applying, including those attributes, based on that, you will be able to search those requisitions. Now, the third functionality or feature that they have added. So these are some of these functionality, as I have mentioned, this is already available in our older UI. They are incorporating or adding these functionality to the new Redwood theme in subsequent releases. So some of those things might not be new as a user. It might not be new to you, but through to the Redwood theme, they are introducing those functionalities. Now, the next feature which is mainly there available is the viewing lines in the shopping cart in a table layout. So earlier, this layout was not and earlier we didn't have that table layout which was not available as part of the process. So now when you have a cart in place, you have multiple lines, you have the cart, you have those options mainly to see those in this one, what is a table format. And this setting is also there as part of your preferences. So as part of the preferences also, you can set in this whether you want the table layout or this one, you can set in those details as well. So here, if I go to purchase requisitions under preferences, you have those options which are there in place. So display settings, if you see, show table view for the cart. So this is what I'm talking about. At the end, you have those display settings which is coming in place where you can choose whether you want to have that table view or not. And once you have the table view, say I'm adding items mainly to my requisition. Say I go to I go down and I'm just adding a few items mainly to my cart. So I'm randomly taking a few of those items, and here you have the cart view and other details are there. Now these things are available in your cart view also. So now if I click on add to cart, I'll just add one more item. So now if I go to the cart, I'll be able to see all the lines in a table format. So all the 3 rows I'll be able to see. And you have those actions where you can add in or you can delete those, you can update those values accordingly. So this is one of the feature they have added it, and that table layout they have added to the cart functionality. Then we didn't have this export requisition search result. So in my manage requisition or my requisitions, when you are searching for the requisitions, you won't be you won't be earlier you won't see that option mainly to export it in Excel. Now they have included that also as part of the functionality. So here, if I go to home, and here if I click on purchase requisitions, in purchase requisitions, I go to my requisitions, and I will be able to see all the list of requisitions under my name. So here, if you see 59 items are there, and this button they have included mainly to export all these into an Excel file. So this they have added as part of the functionality where you can download those under my requisitions. So all the requisitions which was listed, the users will be able to download it. Then as part of the during shopping, whenever you are searching as part of the process, you will be able to see the informational catalog as well. So based on whatever is the search criteria that you have in place, now you have those options where you can see the information catalog also as part of the results. So for example, here under self-service procurement homepage, I am over here and I'm just searching for something like say policy, and I click on search with the keywords. Now what I see over here is the first 3 or 4 items that you see over here. These are nothing but the information catalogs which is there already defined in the instance. So those things you will be able to see as of now in the Redwood theme. The information catalog, those details will be visible to you. So that is one thing which they have added as part of the process. Then we have something called as duplicate the shopping cart lines. So you have multiple items which are there in place and you just wanted to duplicate all the lines. That duplicate option has also being added by the team for 25A. So here if I go to purchase a requisition, and once you have the items in the cart, if you want to add multiple items to that using the duplicate functionality, you have those options also available. So here I go to cart. Say the first item I'm just using, and if I want to duplicate it, I click on duplicate and it will create a duplicate line for that. So this they have added it mainly as part of 25A functionality. Then we have the next one, that is view search results in a list view during shopping. So whatever the search results that we have multiple options which we have in terms of search results. So whenever you are searching for any of those items in place, so you have the card view as well as you have the table view in place. So both the options are mainly available as part of the Redwood theme. So this is our cart view and the cart view, and this is our table view, which is mainly there. Any query so far, or are we good?
We are good so far.
Okay. View requisition PDF I have already mentioned. Then the last one feature which is there is the display the current product price in the shopping search results. So this is something which is in line with whatever we have discussed yesterday. So yesterday, as part of one functionality where we have those option mainly to add agreement lines for the same item, you can use the start date. So to specify a start date mainly for blanket purchase agreement lines. So the same functionality you can use as part of the requisition as well. So here, if you see this one, you use a specific start date in particular, and based on that, the system will show you that particular price based on that requested delivery date. So similarly, in requisitions also the same functionality can be used. So here it will display the current product price in the shopping search results, and this will be based on whatever you have it for your agreement lines. So when you enable that option and you provide giving the start date, the same you can use it over here under requisitions as well. So for example, I would have set an agreement for line 1, line 2, and line 3 for a set of dates, say week 1, week 2, week 3 in that manner. I would have set mainly for this month, say February, and I would have created an agreement. And now whenever I try searching for the product, it will show me the product which is meeting that requirement for today. What is the price for today? In that manner, it will show. So wherever the price is valid one, only those lines it will show as part of the process.
Okay, so I think we have completed today the procurement part, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let's conclude session today here itself. Then we will have another session for the remaining things, and if required, we will have more sessions. But today's session was really good. Thank you. Thanks, Suraj.
Thanks. Thanks, everyone.